Many years ago, the Nile started drying up and Egypt now faces an agricultural crisis. To add to that, almost all of Egypt's citizens live in the Nile Delta, which is simultaneously the only arable area in the whole country, which leads to Egypt importing more than 50% of its food every year, and it heavily relies on imports even for staples like wheat. This video is the second part of my take on Egypt's agriculture, so if you haven't seen the first one yet, you can watch it afterward to learn about the ancient history of farming in this land. Now, on paper, Egypt's situation looks very similar to that of Singapore, for example. There is not enough land to feed the people and big food imports stem from that. But when looking at the respective maps, there is a big difference. Singapore really doesn't have the land. Egypt, on the other hand, has loads of it, but it's unusable. For the most part, you see, across the desert you can find multiple sunken spots, referred to as depressions, which have fairly easy access to the aquifer beneath if there is one. And this makes them the only other inhabitable places in Egypt other than the Nile Delta. For example, in the south there is the Nubian sandstone aquifer, which is the largest fossil aquifer in the world, and estimated to be 20 times bigger than the Great Lakes in North America. And logically, the locals drilled wells and are now irrigating their fields by flooding them with the aquifer's water. But it isn't infinite, so it would be good to transition to some more efficient irrigation methods, such as at least sprinklers or drip irrigation. Now, the people aren't dumb and have already tried it without much success. Because once the water touches air, the large concentration of iron in it oxidizes and clogs up whatever nozzle you wanna push it through. And constantly unclogging nozzles isn't something most farmers would wanna do. But here comes the first solution of today's video. Andrew Millison, a permaculture specialist, discovered a small-scale farm that utilized electrified magnets to neutralize the iron and keep the nozzles safe, which allows them to massively cut on their water consumption. So if more farms did this, it could increase Egypt's food security. The second solution is more complicated though, since it's a construction mega project, but it's already underway. The Egyptian government wants to construct a 114 kilometers long man-made river that will channel water from the Mediterranean Sea to a desalination facility and enable the irrigation of 9,240 square kilometers of Egypt's land, equivalent to about 40% of the whole original Nile Delta. This project, if successful, would greatly aid Egypt's self-sufficiency, and the focus should be on corn and wheat production as the most important crops for feeding people. The project is also said to encompass some 100,000 greenhouses. This isn't an official number, and they should produce other crops for Egyptians and also for exports. And around this new delta, which is the name of the project, industrial zones should be springing up. For example, dairy factories, mills, and similar. There is no doubt a project of this magnitude would satisfy the demands of Egypt's population, at least at its current size. And it technically shouldn't be that far in the future, because the water treatment plant at the end of the river is already standing and operational, and the river itself is allegedly nearing its completion. You can even search it up on Google Maps. So I wish the Egyptian government and the construction workers the very best because of the life-changing nature of this project for the whole of Egypt. And let me know what you think about this mega project. Thanks for watching.